Hello everybody, it's Foster and I am back with another video. Today I'm going to be reading Borrow My Heart by Kasie West, chapter 6, and I apologize for not posting yesterday. I really have no reasoning besides I just did not feel like it. So I'm going to try really hard not to let that be a habit. I really should have just went ahead and sat down and recorded anyways because I don't know. I just should have. So yeah, I'm sorry for that. I'm gonna try and post 2 chapters today to make up for it and all that good stuff. And yeah, so I'm just gonna get into it. Here is chapter 6 of Borrow My Heart by Kasie West. Chapter 6. Rule. Rebounds are only good in basketball. What do you mean you're in a car with him? You know nothing about him. This is how people get murdered, Camella texted in response to the report I'd made to her from the backseat of Asher's Toyota. He and Dale sat in the front. We were on our way to pick up a little brother whose name Gemma probably knew, but I did not. He filled out the volunteer paperwork. I read over it. I was right. He doesn't go to our school. He goes to Dalton. Dalton was the private school in town, serving the rich or ultra smart. And, I continued to type, there was a copy of his license. He's 17. I know more about him than any Uber driver who's given me a ride. I had thought this through. I really needed to talk to Asher, tell him who I was. But Dale was his permanent sidekick, it seemed. Riding with Asher felt like a good way to get him alone so we could finally have a real conversation. The company knows about Uber drivers. They do background checks. Okay, maybe I hadn't thought it through. Probably true, but Bean liked him. Bean doesn't even like you. Bean likes you. That dog is no judge of character. I laughed. Asher's eyes met mine in the rearview mirror. I averted my gaze. What are the videos for? I asked Dale, who was once again recording. TikTok, he said. Are you on TikTok? No. I had been on TikTok at one point, but found myself sucked into the black hole of short clips for hours at a time. I knew I would either graduate from high school with decent grades or become one with the TikTok algorithm, so I deleted it from my phone. You're going viral with videos of car rides? It's this bug. He pointed to the window and a bug I couldn't see from where I sat. It's been hanging on for the last 5 minutes. It will get an amazing voiceover and some killer music. Random things like this go viral all the time, right, Asher? Bugs are big right now, Asher deadpanned. He flipped on the blinker and then turned into the parking lot of a local car wash. A guy in a uniform was sitting on a curb, and he stood as Asher pulled up alongside him. He looked a little like Asher. Auburn hair, freckles, and freckles across his nose. You're late, he said when he opened the back door. Sorry, dog photo shoot, Asher said. I don't even want to know what that means. He started to climb in and paused when he saw me. Brett, this is Rin. Rin, this is my little brother, Brett. He didn't look so little. Unlike Asher, he was bulky and well over 6 feet tall. His legs barely fit behind the passenger seat as he slid inside. Hey, he nodded my way. Hi, you work at Squeaky Clean? No, I just like to wear the uniform. The cut is very flattering. I smiled. A stupid question deserves a stupid answer. Yes, it does. He finally cracked a smile. Much like their looks, Brett's and Asher's personalities seemed opposite as well. Where Asher was open and happy, Brett seemed somber and sarcastic. Don't be mean, Brett, Asher said. Dale held up his fist to Brett, who bumped it. Missing your real driver again today? Brett asked. Dale ran a hand through his hair. The only reason my butt would be sitting on fake leather. I laughed, but nobody else in the car did. Wait, did Dale have an actual driver? I think it's called pleather, Asher said. Brett sized me up. So, you're my brother's online girlfriend. We all thought you were fake and that my brother had become desperate in his post-breakup depression. We still could be right, Dale said. Are you fake, Ren? Are you? I asked, and I wondered what the real Gemma was like. Warm, genuine, someone who matched up better with Asher's sweet nature, for sure. Ouch, Brett said. She fires back. Anyone want food? Asher asked, perhaps to change the subject, or maybe because we were passing a McDonald's. Home, shower, Brett grunted. A few minutes later, and not even close to the part of town I thought we were heading to, Asher pulled up in front of an average-sized house, single-story, two-car garage, bright blue door. Considering he went to private school, I was surprised. Asher didn't seem to be the typical Dalton student. Dale, who had not been dropped off, proving his sidekick status, got out of the car first. Brett climbed out next. Before he walked away, Brett looked back at me. Glad to know my brother is not as big of a loser as I thought he was. Nice to meet you too, I said. Then he shut the door. Asher put the car in park and turned all the way around. He pushed his glasses up his nose. That's the first bit of respect my brother has ever given me. Yeah, right, I said with a small chuckle. No, he wasn't kidding with the loser talk. Well, brothers can be pretty annoying. You should ignore him. Once the front door to the house closed, I asked, "Does Dale really have a private driver?" "I thought I told you that." "I'm sure you did," I said. "He's really not as obnoxious as he seems, I promise." "I don't need any promises." Wow, that sounded cryptic. It was time to come clean. I pointed to the passenger seat and he nodded. I climbed over the middle console and awkwardly worked my way to sitting, regretting immediately that I didn't just exit the car and enter the front seat the normal way. By the time I settled in, Asher was laughing. "I'm usually more graceful when I do that," I said. "I'm sure you are." He gave me a thoughtful smile, then gestured toward his house. "Do you want to come in for a bit?" I know I said coffee, but actually I probably should get home. I didn't tell my dad I was going somewhere after work. On Saturdays, he got off at 5 to start his routine 2 hours earlier. "Your dad?" Asher asked. Did Gemma not have a dad? She had him fake die in some tragic accident? Asher turned sideways and reached over, placing his hand on my forearm. "Tell me about him." "What do you want to know?" "Everything. You've been so private with family details." She had. "My dad works a lot." "And your mom?" "Left us years ago to be able to do whatever she wants whenever she wants to." I didn't tell people that, especially people I hardly knew. What was it about him that made me want to spill my guts? Whatever it wasn't good. I needed to stop. I'm sorry." "I'm sorry." I shrugged. "She's not. You definitely shouldn't be." "I'm sorry anyway." He circled a small freckle on my arm with his finger. "What does your dad do?" "He's a mechanic, which means I will never get a new car. He keeps resurrecting the one I have." Asher stared at the steering wheel for a moment. My granddad bought me this car. My parents couldn't really afford it. I wondered if his granddad also paid for his school tuition. "Can your granddad buy me a car?" "I'll ask him." I smiled. Why was I stalling? Because I was fake, like Dale had accused me of, and I hated that. "I need to tell you something." "What is it?" Asher asked, looking at me with those innocent hazel eyes. Why had the girl online kept up the charade after the cafe? That seemed strange. Maybe they hadn't messaged since the in-person meeting. Maybe she managed to avoid specific questions when she realized someone else had shown up. But if that was the case, why hadn't she outed me? "Who's Chad, by the way?" he asked before I had said anything. He was asking me all sorts of questions before we left. He was? Like what? Like how long we'd been dating, and if I liked you, and if we were exclusive. My mouth opened in shock, and I quickly shut it. "And what did you tell him?" "I told him we weren't exclusive, but that I wanted to be." My heart thudded in my chest. "Oh, calm down, Heart. He doesn't even know you. He's talking about Gemma." "He's a coworker. He has been for the last year. What about you? Post-breakup?" I asked, repeating what Brett had said minutes ago. Dale had also said something about the cafe that first day. Eleanor? That was the name he'd used. Asher took a deep breath, suddenly interested at looking out the windshield into the large eucalyptus tree. "Did Dale tell you about her?" "Not in the way he thought." "He didn't say a lot. We really don't need to talk about my ex." "Oh, come on. I just told you I was abandoned by my mom. Which one of us is more screwed up here?" He crinkles his nose, then sighs. "When I met you, I mean online, when we first started talking, I'd just been dumped." Rebounds are only good in basketball. Never be someone's rebound. I could see that rule flash through my head in my own handwriting, and everything. I shook it away. "How long were you together?" "About a year." "Too long." "I'm sorry." "No, don't be," he said. "It was long overdue. We weren't right for each other, but being dumped just destroys your confidence, you know?" I actually didn't know. I hadn't ever been dumped. I'd never made it to the girlfriend stage of a relationship. Yeah, I said. I was feeling like maybe I wasn't right for anyone, and then we started talking, and slowly I started feeling better, and then we met, and I ruined it. I wasn't exactly known for helping people feel better about themselves. What? No, I felt like myself for the first time in a long time. My point is, I'm glad I met you. I needed to rip off the band-aid. This was getting worse by the second. Asher, I'm not. There was a loud smacking noise on the window, and I jumped and let out a squeal. I turned to see Asher's brother pressing his face against the glass. He had changed clothes and his hair was wet. Hey, jerk off. Hey, jerk off. Mom said you have to take me to In-N-Out. His voice was muffled through the window. I literally asked you if you wanted food on the way home, Asher yelled back. I changed my mind. Asher groaned, then rolled down the window. Fine, back seat. I need to take Grin to her car anyways. You didn't tell him? Camella practically yelled at me as we sat on my bed that night. I was going to, but then he told me this sad story about losing all his confidence, and his brother was making fun of him, and Dale wants him to commit social suicide. Are you talking about Dale's birthday party humiliation he wants to inflict on Asher? She asked, obviously remembering the conversation from the cafe as well. Yes, if Dale digs around and finds out that not only was he catfished originally, but now I seem to be catfishing him in a very different and nice way, he'll never let him live it down. Camella's brow shot down. Different and nice way? I mean, he's met me and seen me, and I'm trying my hardest not to lie to him. That's all you're doing, she said, lying to him. No, I'm not. He knows where I work. He's met Bean. I told him about my dad's stupid job and my mom. See? I'm not lying. You told him about your mom? She asked, surprised. I didn't tell anyone anything about my mom unless they already knew she'd left us. I hardly even talked to Camella about the situation. Why had I told him? She stood suddenly and began pacing the room, her hands twisting around each other. Her bed was lined with stuffed animals that she held or fidgeted with when she was nervous or thinking. My bedroom didn't contain a single stuffed animal. I hated clutter, so I held a pillow in her direction. She waved it away. Don't make fun of me. You're the weird one. Who doesn't have something soft to hug? People who don't need hugs, I said. Says the girl who found the perfect hugger. She let out a frustrated sigh. He seems like a really nice guy, Rin. He is, and I'm going to tell him. I am. Maybe after I get Dale off the suspicion trail, then Asher can just say we weren't right for each other or something. Not that he was fooled. And if he falls for you in the meantime, she asked, as if guys fell for me on the regular. Oh, please, he won't. We are so not right for each other. He'd already broken 6 of my rules, and I'd barely known him for a week. Do you like him? Camella asked. Is that why you're doing this? No, I just want to help him. Her worried expression turned into a disappointed one. So you feel sorry for him. That's honestly even worse. It's not worse. It's what good people with big hearts do. She pointed to me. Was that a description of you? I may keep it in a cage, but I have the biggest heart in this town. Camella, in all her best friend sincerity, said, I know you do, which made me laugh because I had been kidding. My heart was pretty shriveled. It's your brain I have a problem with. You can't control everything, you know. I know, I said, but I can control most things. I'm just worried this is all going to blow up in your face and he's going to get hurt. I won't hurt him. It's Dale who wants to make a fool out of him, and with his recordings and plans for over-the-top humiliation. It's hard to recover from that in high school. Do we really want people to always remember Asher as the guy who was catfished and had to run around some rich guy's yard naked? She shook her head. What about Chad? Weirdly, I think Chad's more interested now that I'm sort of taken. This really could be a mutually beneficial arrangement. He was asking Asher lots of questions about me. If that's not a red flag, I don't know what is. I hope that's in your little book of rules. Any guy who doesn't ask me out for months and only asks interested when I'm taken is off limits. That's a solid rule. I probably should add it. But, Camella said, knowing there was a but I didn't really give him a chance. I was literally asking him out when Asher came. Maybe he would have said yes. Maybe I read his reaction wrong. So you're gonna date both of them? No, Chad can wait a few more weeks, I said, warming to the idea as I said the words. He's waited this long. She made a big exploding noise with her with her mouth as her fingers slowly opened, blowing it up. And that is the end of chapter 6. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you later with the next chapter. Bye!